Fantastic. Welcome to our virtual lunch, T-Bird Nation. My name is Casey Smurthwaite, and I'm the Senior Associate AD for External Affairs at lovely Southern Utah University. We are so excited to have our first virtual lunch with Debbie Corum, the Athletic Director. Debbie, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Casey.
It's lunch. Lunch is on us today. You all can eat whatever you want. I know I got my Pallet Bakery. Admittedly, you can just see the crumbs just a little bit right there. They gave me 6 peanut butter bars a couple of days ago, and they may or may not be all gone. They're really good. I mean, everything's from scratch there, the pies and the cookies and also the peanut butter bars. So we won't tell Pallet Bakery I already ate them all, but let's just pretend we saw them. They look great. And we also want to thank America First Credit Union for being our title sponsor for today's virtual lunch or State of the T-Birds. And also Debbie. Debbie's been traveling today in Salt Lake. I'm in Idaho, so this is definitely social distancing. And we'll get started. And Debbie, just want to ask your general statement of what is the state of the T-Birds right now?
Well, I think we're actually doing really well. I spend about 20 hours a week on Zoom meetings. And so I'm hearing all over the country how people are doing, how the other schools in the Big Sky are doing. And every time I hear something, President Wyden, I've actually talked about this several times, every time we hear something, we realize we're actually doing pretty well with our group, and it's because of our people. So we're staying positive and staying safe, and things seem to be going well.
That's great. Well, as far as Southern Utah athletics, we did ask fans to submit questions early. Now, if you are listening right now, you can submit a question through the Q&A. It should be at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get to it as the time becomes available. But we do have some pre-submitted questions. And Debbie, your first one is, what is
sorry.
We dropped a phone. It's a fumble.
Sorry.
Coach Warren is not. Coach Warren didn't see that.
But I did recover.
We did. It's all good. First down, T-Birds. We're marching, and we'll go straight into that first question of what is the most rewarding experience you have had while being the athletic director at Southern Utah University?
Gosh, there have been so many. I actually came to Southern Utah University about 4 years ago as the senior associate AD, and I've had so many wonderful experiences. But I'll talk more about since I became an athletic director. I think there's so many highlights. One of the big highlights was when we opened the Eccles Sports Performance Facility. And I think that was so big because I knew it was going to make such a difference for every single student athlete that we had. So that was big. Obviously, winning the football championship in 2017 was really big. And we've won some other conference championships, won men's track and field last year. I think about our men's basketball team in 2018 or 17 when they had an overtime victory, and we weren't expected to be anywhere in the hunt, and we've been just doing so well since, with breaking a lot of records on top of records, gymnastics breaking records on top of records. Megan McBride being able to do the floor exercise in gymnastics this past not too long ago. I mean, it seems like it was 10 years ago, but it really wasn't. On senior day after recovering from a devastating injury, I think about one of our softball players who had to drop out of school for a year because she was fighting cancer. And I think about the game where she came back and she was pitching and she was able to graduate from Southern Utah University and finish her career and do that dream. I think of our men's tennis last season when they went into the Big Sky Championship seeded second. I think of our women's tennis team beating Cal State Fullerton back when nobody thought we were respectable at all, and had a really great season. I think of Becca Cardenas. Our fans, some of our fans may know and some may not, that we just continually, we had like this fourth quarter bug, and we would go into the fourth quarter with an 18-point lead and lose the games over and over and over again. And I remember that same thing happening this past season and I'm watching, and all of a sudden you saw Becca's eyes click, and you said, she isn't going to lose any more games in the fourth quarter. And she just went, she just went all out after that. And we knew she was on a roll, and the team responded. And, that was just a really big highlight. I think of soccer beating Idaho State in overtime this past season. I think of eating voodoo donuts with our volleyball team in Portland, Oregon. I just, there's just, I think of golf, Fidel Concepcion, when he made this unbelievable shot on the 18th to go into a sudden death playoff in our men's golf team. I think, I think of the first time I saw Plume hit the ball in our women's golf team. That was really exciting. And then again, Poi, it's just, there's so many absolutely wonderful memories. I think of Eric Huell and President Wyatt at the NCAA cross country championships in Wisconsin on frozen ground, running together to try to spot our cross country teams, every time they would turn a corner, and our athletes doing so well, finishing both teams within the top 25 in the nation on frozen ground. It's just, there's just so many memories. But I will say, if I have to pick one, I think the one that I would pick is in 2017, our first game of the year, we had a football athlete who had a devastating injury, compound fracture in his leg. It was not, and it really literally, for most people, it would have been a career-ending injury, not a season-ending injury. And I was just really concerned. This was a senior. I knew that he was, his motivation was to play football. And I was filled with dread that this young man would just give up on life and not ever graduate, not ever, to really come back from an injury like that and be able to walk again was just really amazing. So he just shocked us all, because the next spring, when I saw him take a handoff at spring practice and run with the ball, it just overwhelmed me. But then what really got me, when I was standing on the dais at graduation at the end of the line with our board of trustees, and I watched him walk across the podium and knew he was graduating, tears just started running down my face. And I think of all the wonderful memories that we've had, that I've been able to experience in just unbelievable life here at Southern Utah University. I think that's the one that's going to stay with me the most, because we keep telling our student athletes that we're in the business of helping them fulfill their dreams, but they've got to do their part in it. And when I saw this young man be able to, he came back the next year and played football, and saw that, it's just something that will stay with me forever.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can tell that there's passion right there in your answers. I mean, I think you hit every sport. You talked about student athlete success on the field, off the field, as well as personal experiences. And I think that speaks volumes to you as an athletic director, leader of this institution, that you get to know the student athletes very well. And I can say, as an employee, I've been here 3 months. I love it. I mean, all the student athletes know who you are. Yeah. It truly is a family. That kind of I know PJ Fleck uses the "forget about me, I love you." It truly is a family feel. At least I know. I mean, everybody seems to know what they had for dinner last night. There's a barbecue going on, and I know with COVID right now, it kind of leads us into that second question that we got submitted is, there's changes that are happening right now, and they're changes that we've never faced before, whether it be as an institution at Southern Utah University or as an athletics department, and in my time or in your time. And so that question is, what changes do you foresee at Southern Utah University Athletics Department due to COVID?
COVID's changed everything. I mean, and not just for us, for everyone who's participating on this call today. I mean, it's changed everyone's life. So really, there's not anything that we do that COVID hasn't touched, and that we've had to address. The way we communicate with our athletes, the way they're training, hopefully this summer to stay in shape, the way we're going to be able to conduct our athletic events in the near future, the way we are trying to manage our budget, the financial impact is going to be horrific on higher education institutions, which will ultimately, affect athletics. And there's just so much. I should let everyone know, because you're probably wondering whether we're working or not, but I actually have probably worked harder since March 10th than I ever have in my life. It's sort of funny. President Wyatt and I were having a phone call last night at 7:30, and we were like, is it 5 o'clock yet? Because that's what we're finding, is that it's taking us a lot longer, and we're having to work a lot harder to do the same things that we were doing that were just easier to do. And I've never been so happy to see Friday evening come around before, because we're exhausted at the end of the week. We're having President's Cabinet meetings 3 times a week right now. We're having Big Sky Athletic Directors meetings twice a week. We are meeting with my senior team, our senior team at Southern Utah twice a week. We're meeting with our head coaches once a week, which has really been wonderful, because we're getting to see them. I've been on Zoom meetings with our athletes and their coaches, and it's just been it's changed how we do things, but we're still trying to, even though we don't have all the time that we need, we're still trying to be who we were. Someone said to me a couple of weeks ago, you're going to be who you are, COVID or not. And I thought that was just really a very wise statement. And so we still want to be the ones who are taking care of our athletes and nurturing them, but we're just having to find be creative and find different ways to do that. But it literally has changed everything.
Well, it's, from what it kind of sounds like, the situation's changed, the circumstances are changing, but the mission statement of Southern Utah and Southern Utah Athletics hasn't changed. And that's, building the nation's premier student athlete centered institution.
Yeah, exactly. No, we have not changed. In fact, we've tried to become even more diligent in doing that, because when you don't have that personal contact, you have to work harder to let people know that you're caring about them. I'm so proud of what we've done with our coaches. I think our coaches are phenomenal, and I hear what our coaches are doing with their teams. And then I talked to somebody, I talked to an athletic director on the other side of the country, and they're like, well, we have no idea what our athletes are doing. Nobody's and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just so proud of our team. And we're going to come back even stronger, I think, because of this time that we've had to go through this.
Absolutely. And I'll echo from me your thoughts on, it's changed the way I operate, working with some of our external constituents, donors, fans, working with Naki and C and our corporate sponsorships. I mean, everything's changed, especially since, there's no sporting events, but there's still ways we just have to challenge the way we do them and be creative and be innovative in order to progress and succeed, which I think we will. I think there's a lot of good things happening. I mean, you look at our student athlete GPA academics, 3.25 in the fall,
Yeah.
and in the spring, 14 of our sport teams had a 3.0 GPA or higher.
Yep.
I mean, there's successes both on and off the field of play. COVID or not, we're going to be successful, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Looking at, we've got a couple questions that come in, so I'll answer 2, and then we've got a couple that just added in. And again, I wanted to thank T-Bird Nation. We're here with Debbie Corum, our athletic director at Southern Utah University, and my name is Casey Smurthwaite. And we are here just saying thank you so much. We want to have touches with you. We can't see at our sporting events. Can't you see at softball or track and field this spring? So we at least want to come to you. We hope to do this again in the future. And we want to thank again America First Credit Union for their support, as well as Pallet Bakery for my peanut butter bars that I already ate. I will go back and have some more. But another question that we had here, Debbie, and this is kind of a hot topic, a hot question. I think some people would call it kind of a habanero pepper topic. Everybody wants a little piece of it. And
Yeah.
it's what do you think about the fall sports season? Will we have one? Will we not? What will it look like?
You know, I love reading all the news every morning. You know, I read it. So first thing I'm doing it every morning because the sports news, because everybody's trying to figure it out, you know, and I keep saying that what we're doing is planning for the best and you know, and anticipating the worst, you know, thinking how are we going to do. I do think we're going to play. I think it's not going to be exactly what we've been used to as far as stands and, you know, how many people can be there. And I will say that the Big Sky has decided that we are going to open play based on our state and where we are. So I know some people are, you know, all of you realize that we have schools that are in California, that are in the Big Sky, that are in Oregon and Washington State. And, you know, those states may not open up for a while, but we may have Utah, Idaho, and Montana playing each other, you know. So that's been really good news that was decided this past week. And the NCAA came out a week ago today and said that they're not going to make everybody wait and all open up at the same time. And so then the Big Sky this week during one of our meetings, we discussed this, and the presidents will actually ultimately vote on this, the presidents of the Big Sky on Monday. But our anticipation is that we'll be able to get started, especially in Cedar City, because our people are doing such a great job of doing what they need to do to keep our numbers down. You know, who would have known that the biggest comment of the year is flatten the curve? You know, that's going to be something that
Force
goes down
majeure.
in history. Yes, it defines 2020. You know, so I do think we're going to be playing, and we'll just have to see how that looks. But I do want to say that you know, some of the information out there is showing that there are some young people that are fit and in shape that are being taken by this virus, and every decision we make will be based on knowing that we can keep our young men and women safe. There isn't a game or a season, anything in the world, and I think all of you know that athletics has been my entire life. There is not anything that's more important than saving one of our children, you know, one of our student athletes or their families. And so every decision we make will have that as our number one priority, is making sure that we are doing what we need to do to keep them as safe as we can.
Absolutely. And I'll echo, you talked about it a little bit earlier, that it's a very fluid situation. It seems like every article that comes out, or even a press release that we do, within 24 hours, it changes and it's gone. We got to replan. I kind of feel like I'm wearing my coach's hat again, and I'm going back and doing game plans for every scenario. And then that's still changing. So it's kind of keeping us on our toes. And I think that's the most difficult part about this COVID situation, especially for somebody in your chair who has a role to oversee athletics, but also for the academic institution, working closely with President Wyatt. It's, we don't know what we don't know. And it's tough to prepare for what we don't know.
Exactly.
It's ever changing. And we'll move on to another question. And again, T-Bird Nation, if you're wanting to, more than welcome to ask a question down in our Q&A. We've got a lot of T-Birds on right now. Again, thank you. We appreciate you. It is a difficult time, and we understand that. And we're grateful that you were able to take a little bit of time out with us today. And reminder, lunch is on us today. What, Debbie, are some of the things to look forward to for Southern Utah University?
Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to be very understanding of me and give me a long rope of forgiveness, because that day that we start up again, there will be constant tears streaming down my face. I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
You are.
Though that day, I mean, all of us, the day, I keep thinking, we were really excited, and we still are, because we anticipate that the first time that our community really comes back together again is going to be our Dixie football game against Dixie State. And I think about that all day long. It just passes through my mind. I have this image of our stands being so packed, standing room only, bringing in bleachers, and people are there, and we're screaming and yelling for our T-Birds, and we're all together, and we can, maybe we can't hug, but we can high five from a distance, and seeing our young men and women back on the fields of play. And I think that's what we have to look forward to. And I just yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's going to be a wonderful time, and
Yes,
the air
I have
hug.
to wipe my
Yeah.
sorry.
Wait, no, you're fine. But Debbie, I think again, it goes to show that this is affecting everybody, and for the athletic director to be here, and you can see the passion. I think that really shows. And I mean, I was on the phone yesterday on a Zoom call with our soccer parents, and I told them straight away, we're here to support your student, whether that be on the field or off the field.
Yes.
And if any of them are watching right now, I think that there's no question that you care and that you want the best for Southern Utah University. And I think that speaks volumes, more so than wins and losses and championships.
Well, I think while you're looking at the next question, I had in my mind that I would be able to call every athlete, and check on them. And to be honest, we're spending so much time in all these meetings trying to make decisions and getting information. I haven't had the time to do it. And but that's why I've looked so forward to our head coaches meetings once a week, because our head coaches are telling us what they're doing to connect with the student athletes. And so even though I can't personally do it, I know that's being done. And that's given me great joy.
And a little sneak peek for fans, we have one of our coaches and coaching staff did a little day in the life. I know Debbie mentioned it earlier, that what are admins doing during the day? I had one of our coaches do a little snippet, and it shows them meeting with their team. I believe they did origami. I'm just grateful we don't have an origami competition or a team.
Yes.
We'll end it right there, but look forward to that. We'll be sending it out to our fan base. We got a question.
I did well enough just getting my America First logo behind me. Don't give me origami.
I'm gonna put Debbie. I know Debbie said, Casey, don't bring it up, but I'm gonna bring it up. I think we can also add CTO, or Chief Technical Officer.
Yeah.
Title. She was able to get that America First Credit Union, which was made by our great marketing team, on her phone. I wasn't able to, and I had to be walked through step by step by Debbie. So Chief Technical Officer, we're handing it over to Debbie, Athletic Director Extraordinaire, and a great member of the presidential cabinet for President Wyatt. So we have a question that popped in here. If you were a coach, would your culture and beliefs be the same as it was being an athletic director?
Oh, I certainly hope so. I will say that I've hired quite a few coaches since I've been here. And, the thing that I'm looking for when I talk to them is that they have the same passion that I have for the student athlete, and they have the same values, and so that's what I look for in coaching. And that's when I've made some changes, when I realized maybe those values weren't the same as mine. Doesn't mean mine are the ones that are always right, but I get to be this gets to be my program for a little while. God has given me such a blessing for that. And so, we tell our coaches, we want to win. I'm a very competitive person. We want to win, but developing young men and women, helping them become the best person they can be, is our number one goal. And so I truly believe that our coaches believe that as well. So yeah, we all have to work together as a team. So if there's somebody who doesn't believe in that, they don't fit in with our program very well.
Good to hear. Well, we got another question that came in. Again, fans of T-Bird Nation, if you're more than welcome to submit questions. I just scrolled over and saw some of the names on here. I see a couple of news outlets. We'd love for you to ask Debbie some hard-hitting questions. She's been preparing all week for this, and it feels like every day's Monday during COVID. When you said Friday, I went, oh yeah, it is Friday.
It's Friday.
This question came in. What is the best way we can help during this current situation?
Just keep supporting us. It just keep letting us know that you care about what we're doing. Whether that's Jean Lepore called me up a couple of weeks ago, and it meant the world to me. I will tell you that I'm really concerned about our coaches. And so reaching out to our coaches and just letting them know that you're still there and you're looking forward to when they're going to get back. Coaches are a little bit of a different breed, and they eat, drink, and sleep their team, and how they can continue to get better. And so this is a really, really difficult time for them. And so just a text message, a phone call, an email, a card in the mail, to our app, if you can reach out to our athletes, through the coaches even, to let them know that you're still there. I think one of our biggest fears is that we're going to come back and nobody's going to be there, when we get back. And I just think letting us know, obviously, we were so proud of what we had done this past year financially.
Mm-hmm.
We were actually going to finish in the black this past year until it's this year. It ends June 30th, until the NCAA pulled their monies, their money of support to us, because they had to cancel the basketball tournament. So financially, there's going to be some struggles. The school itself, Southern Utah, is going to lose some money, state funding, which will ultimately affect us financially. I know a lot of people are not in a good place right now financially, but if there is anything that people can do, we're looking at cutting a significant amount of money out of our budget, because of what's happening. So, we're going to make those decisions and do what we can. We're going to try to stay financially, responsible. But I think the number one thing, so giving, and, that is always important, especially with a program our size. But my number one thing is just letting our coaches and our athletes know that even though you're not there physically, that you're still there behind us to support us. And if just you don't even have to ask them if they need anything. Just let them know you're thinking about them. And I think that's the most important thing right now. But thanks for that question.
Yeah, simple things mean everything. And one thing I'm going to have you do, Debbie, is if you could come up just a little bit closer to your camera. I think we were starting to have you fade out there a little bit, or it looks like maybe, there we go, or maybe your hand's right there over the camera.
Maybe so. Sorry.
No, I am sure we're still friends with T-Bird Nation. And as far as your question, I might echo a little bit off that. Is there's a lot of opportunities for folks to get involved, whether that be buying season tickets. I mean, if you go to tbirdtickets.com, you can buy a season ticket for as cheap as $25. Participation is powerful. And next week, we're going to be sending out some annual fund solicitations. They're very soft solicitations. We understand that right now it's not the economic climate we want to, or we would hope for, to fundraise, hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. But everything and every penny goes a long ways. I actually, we won't tell my former employer, but we picked off about 12 donors from this former employer. And I kind of joked and said, even a $50, $4.17 a month goes a long ways, and it goes a lot longer here than at other institutions. And you're going to see a big push this year, T-Bird Nation, and even any fans or coaches and staff to join and give to our Thunderbird Athletic Foundation. It's going to be very inclusive this year. $4.17 a month is going to support an education of a student athlete. We want to get as many members as we can as possible, from California to New York, and maybe even internationally. I know we got a pretty good following in Australia. Thank you, Jared Hoppo, and all of our wonderful Aussies that have come here to play. But a little bit, if you're a business owner, Van Wagner has been a great corporate partner for us, and we have great corporate partners at America First Credit Union. And I have to throw out there Pallet Bakery again. I mean, those peanut butter bars, they were good. But it goes a lot more. It goes beyond that wins and losses. If a ticket manager messed up your ticket 10 years ago, or you didn't like the head coach or the athletic director, it's not about them. It's about that education of the student athletes. And I think that's something that we're going to try to talk about more, getting to know them, because at the end of the day, if they're changing their lives and they're going on and doing something productive and successful, or even being the first college graduate in their family, I think that's the most important thing. And years down the road, we'll be able to look back and say, we would rather have done it no other way. And that was the right way. So tons of opportunities. If you're a business owner, reach out to me, kcs@suu.edu, or reach out to Debbie. We'd love for you to get involved with season tickets, one of our corporate sponsors, or even just fundraising, philanthropic giving for a tax write-off. But we're here to help, and we appreciate you. We got one more question, and then we might wrap it up unless any more questions pop through. Debbie, how do you balance your time between the institution, athletics, and getting to know your coaches and student athletes? That's a loaded question. Good luck on that one. I'll come back and let you handle that.
I actually did a much better job when I wasn't the athletic director, when I was the senior associate AD. Because there's just a lot more that kind of gets in the way, at the AD level, that you have to get involved with what's going on with other athletic, just meetings. So I did better, but I will say that I conscientiously think through my day all the time, and can I stop by this practice for 15 minutes, or I spend a lot of time on the website looking at pictures and learning names of the athletes, try to remember where they're from. That's one of the reasons why I've loved, one of the positives, I'm not going to say I've loved this tough opportunity, but one of the positives that we've had are these weekly coaches meetings. We're really sensitive to taking our coaches' times once the athletes are on campus, because we don't want to have them be sitting in a meeting every week and take them away from their athletes and preparing for games and recruiting and all that. So knowing that they have a little bit more time on their hands, and having that weekly meeting with our coaches was really important. But I do, it's really funny because I tried, and if Paula Kelsey, she's our administrative assistant, if she's here, she'll know. I used to try to block my Wednesday afternoons, to be that would be the afternoon that you'd walk around. I could walk around and watch practices and things like that. And things just kind of keep getting in the way. But I do try to block some time there to get out, walk around a little bit, see what's going on, and that's how I do it.
Yep. We got a couple more questions just pop in here. I think you opened the floodgates, Debbie. I will add to that is it is difficult. I think often, working in collegiate athletics, I call them the 3 V's. It's visual, vulnerable, and volatile. It's not the easiest. It's very much a lifestyle. I mean, talking about, last night you had a call with President Wyatt at 7:30 at night. And especially with this current situation, it seems like the days just kind of all merge into one. And all of a sudden you're looking down and you're still emailing at 9:30 at night going, wait,
yes,
my mind hasn't transitioned very well, but we're knocking it out. We're taking it one step at a time. And I think you mentioned it earlier, patience. We're here to help. When we lose, we feel it. We're never just sitting around celebrating, say, hey, we sold out the tickets. No, we want to win. We're all competitive. And I think that's part of the visual, vulnerable, and volatility of the athletics world. So we have a question that came in from a fan and donor. Wonderful. Will spring sport student athletes who are not able to compete this spring be granted an extra year of by the SUU and NCAA. He did say also at the end, he is going to donate now. And also it sounds like we used him on the Kiss Cam a few times this year. So to this fan, helpsuu.com. It was the
Oh my
best
gosh.
$8 I ever spent. Helpsuu.com.
So here I start, here I start crying again. Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Oh no, you're good. It's just about your spring sports student athletes at SUU,
Yeah.
how that will be handled.
So we actually spent a lot of time on this right off the bat. And number one, there's some student athletes that were ready to go on, move on. So the process is we started by looking at every single one of our spring sport athletes that were seniors and reaching out to coaches and figuring out, do they want to come back? Does the coach want them to come back? And we had a list, and then we started working through that list. So we will not be receiving any additional funding from the school in scholarships to help us bring those back. And I think I mentioned before, the school's just not in a position right now to help us with that. But everyone who's wanted to come back, we basically have been working with the coaches to make it work within the scholarship amount that we have. And it looks like at this point in time that everyone who wants to come back and have another year, another go at another championship, is going to have that opportunity. But if anyone wants to help us make that happen, we would cherish that gift.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we honor the 4 years of education, but also make sure that they have the best opportunity for them to compete and finish out their time as a T-Bird. And we have a question coming again, or from a fan. And also we have one from the Spectrum, Chris at the Spectrum, which we love his coverage. Thank you so much.
Yes.
He does a great job. Thank you. The media is not an easy job, and you do a great work of providing that information to our fans and constituents. Chris is wondering if you could go in a little bit more in depth about the Big Sky Conference reopening play, and what kind of challenges does that present to you as an athletics department?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So, we're still working through a lot of the details. And as I said, the presidents will vote on Monday to see exactly what happens with that. But so there's some things that I've been doing that really no one knows about yet. So for instance, there's some local schools that, not local, but within driving range, Big Sky schools that I've been talking with, like if we don't get to play a full football schedule because a conference schedule, because we can't play any of the Oregon, Washington, California schools, there's a couple of the other ADs in the Big Sky that we've been talking about. Well, maybe we play a home and home this year with them. We're also Jeff Tukawafu, who's our football administrator. He's been phenomenal through all this, by the way, as everybody else. But he's been, talking to some of the schools in the state of Utah and seeing, hey, would you like to pick up another game with us if you lose, your competition? So we're doing a lot of things right now. That's what I'm saying. We're spending so much time right now trying to put some things into play so that if we don't get a full conference schedule, that we get to play. This is in football, obviously, only, but we are doing this with other sports as well, that we can fill our schedule, and keep playing. So the other thing that the Big Sky's doing is that we've spent hours and hours and hours looking at all of our sports and trying to figure out how we can keep having championships and, maybe changing our schedules a little bit, decreasing the round robins, those kinds of things. you know, like in volleyball, going from 20 matches to 16 matches, but keeping the championship, and are getting, or, you know, staying at 20 matches and not having a championship. So those are the kinds of things that we're deciding right now. And we're getting very close. So there should be some announcements from the Big Sky, I would say probably a week from today, maybe, letting everyone know what we're going to be doing regarding all of the sports with the scheduling.
Well, you got to follow up on that. And I think we just lost you for a split moment. So we might need to adjust that video for you, Debbie.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
You just came back. Perfect. It's a follow-up to about kind of what you just talked about. Do you foresee more games against Dixie State in football as well as other sports?
Yes, I do. You know, it could be that we end up playing a home, you know, 2 home games with Dixie in football, or we're looking at playing a home and away in men's basketball, women's basketball, those kinds of things. So with Dixie, it's kind of really good timing for us, because with Dixie moving to Division I on July 1st, we can play them and fulfill what we need to do for requirements for the NCAA. So, this rivalry with Dixie might end up being on steroids, this year. We don't know how it's gonna play out, but we're thankful that we're gonna have a Division I opponent that's within an hour's drive, and we might see a lot of them this year.
So maybe that opens up, I hope our Van Wagner corporate sponsorship team's taking notes. Maybe that opens up an opportunity for a corporate sponsorship to name the rivalry between Dixie State and SUU.
Yeah, that would be fun.
We'll take it. Well, that wraps up all of our questions. Again, Debbie, thank you so much for participating. T-Bird Nation, you did great with the questions. I'm already seeing some comments come in of people thanking you and for the inspiration that you give them.
Thanks.
Again, want to thank America First Credit Union, Pallet Bakery, and I also did mention the KISS Camp. So Clark and Linford, thank you very much. T-Bird Nation.
Hey, Casey, can I?
Yes.
I just want to say to our fans and our friends, we love you guys so much. You mean the world to us. We hope you're staying safe. We think about you often. Every day when we're talking about things, we talk about how it's going to affect you. And so appreciate so much you being part of it. I appreciate America First Credit Union at Pallet Bakery. I'm going to have to go get some of those peanut butter bars now.
Don't get them around me.
Talking about them. But I just want to have an opportunity to tell you how much we appreciate you, and look forward to the next time we can all be together again.
Absolutely. It's a great time to be a T-Bird. I know it's cliche, but it is a great time, because I don't think there's ever a bad time to not be a T-Bird. I know there's a lot of folks that would love to be a part of our wonderful institution and be a T-Bird for one of our great coaches. So thank you, T-Bird Nation. We appreciate you. Hope to do this again. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. We're here to help. Until next time, T-Bird Nation, I'm Casey Smithwaite. That's Debbie Corum.
Bye.